You know, some stories, they're buried deep in the earth, but others, they're buried in something much deeper: silence. And for the last 800 years, one of history's greatest, darkest secrets has been guarded by both.
Those are the words of a man who conquered pretty much the entire known world. And yet, all he wanted was to be completely forgotten by it. Think about that. His armies were this unstoppable tide of steel, washing over whole continents. But when it came to his final moments, he had just one demand: absolute, total secrecy.
So how does that happen? How does the most powerful man on Earth just vanish? I mean, that's the question that's haunted people for centuries, right? Explorers, historians, you name it. And the answer, well, the answer begins with a shadow that fell across the entire world.
His name was Genghis Khan. And you have to understand, from the Pacific Ocean all the way to the heart of Europe, his name wasn't just spoken. It was like a thunderclap that could shatter entire civilizations. And yet, this absolute titan of history, in his final moments, pulls off the most successful and honestly the most terrifying disappearing act the world has ever seen.
Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, the mystery really kicks off with how he died. The official record, this text called The Secret History of the Mongols, it's almost totally silent on the subject. See, in their culture, death was, well, it was taboo, a private, unspoken thing. And when you have that kind of official silence, a void, well, 100 dark legends are more than happy to fill it.
So what are these stories? Well, some say he was literally struck by lightning. A judgment from the sky god Tengri. Then you've got Marco Polo, who claimed it was just a simple arrow to the knee that got infected. Others whisper about poison. Or, and this one's a classic, a vengeful queen who made sure the great conqueror wouldn't be conquering anyone ever again. The point is, the truth, that was buried long before his body ever hit the ground.
And the burial itself, my God, it was basically an oath sealed in blood. The funeral procession, as it moved, carved a path of absolute silence. They killed every single person, every animal that laid eyes on it. Once the Khan was in the ground, 1,000 horses were galloped over the grave, just trampling it, churning the earth until it was completely unrecognizable. But even that wasn't enough. The horsemen who did the trampling, they were killed. And then the soldiers who killed the horsemen, they were killed too. It's this chilling cascade of death, all to hide one single spot on the planet.
So with all this folklore and all these legends swirling around, you have to wonder, is there any hard evidence? And there is. Just one piece. It's not a map, it's not some ancient relic, it's a place. A huge, forbidden piece of land completely locked away from the rest of the world.
They called it the Ikor Koryg. In English, that means the Great Taboo. And right after the burial, this massive area, we're talking nearly 100 square miles, around his sacred childhood mountain, Burkhan Khaldun, was completely sealed off. And the penalty for setting foot inside? It was death. No questions asked, no exceptions.
And get this wasn't some temporary order. This oath of silence, this great taboo, it was enforced for almost 700 years. 700 years. I mean, can you even imagine keeping a secret that big for that long?
So how did they do it? Well, they tasked an entire tribe, the Dark Hot, with this one sacred duty. And in exchange for guarding this forbidden zone, they got the ultimate deal: no taxes, no military service, no other obligations. Their entire purpose for existing, passed down from father to son for centuries, was just to keep the worlds out.
But here's the thing. The Darkhad weren't the only ones standing guard. After centuries of that kind of enforced silence, the land itself, it became the ultimate keeper of the secret. Because it was so fiercely protected, the whole area is basically a perfect time capsule. It's like a piece of the 13th century just frozen. A land totally untouched, untamed for 800 years. The forests, the grasslands, the rivers, they are exactly as they were when the Great Khan last saw them. It's like time just stopped. When you're in a place that ancient, that undisturbed, you can feel it. There's a presence. It's this feeling that the trees, the shadows, the air itself, it remembers. It holds a secret. And it's that deeply unsettling feeling that you're not actually alone, that you are being watched. For hundreds of years, the world has just assumed that the Great Taboo was created to protect a king's sacred grave. Simple, right? But what if that's not the whole story? What if, all this time, we've been asking the completely wrong question? And this
This is where the story takes a turn, into much, much darker woods. Because you have to ask yourself, what if all of it, the centuries of silence, the generations of guardians, the river of blood it took to create this place, what if it was never designed to keep us out, but to keep something else in?
See, there are these fringe legends, stories that were, let's say, violently scrubbed from the official history books. They talk about a dark sect that was there, right at the Khan's court. They whisper about these lamas who practiced a kind of forbidden magic, and that they were the real architects behind the insane brutality of the Mongol army.
What they taught was something called the Black Hunger. It was a belief, a practice, that by consuming human flesh, you could absorb immense power. But it came with a terrible price, an eternal, monstrous hunger that could never, ever be satisfied. It was the kind of power that could let you conquer the world, and it was the kind of curse that was so terrible it had to be buried, forever.
So, what was it? A tomb or a prison? Was all that secrecy meant to honor a king? Or was it meant to starve an ancient evil? The truth is, we'll probably never know for sure. And when you look out across that silent, watchful landscape, you get the feeling that maybe it's better that way.